This is Open Line on the VOCM Big Land FM radio network.
Welcome back. Let's go to line number 1. Susan, you're on the air.
Hi, good morning, Patty. My name is Susan Heftich. I just want to give you a little bit of my background. I don't want to take up too much of your time today. A lot of discussions about what happened Friday with Protect NL. I'm now part of the legal team that Brenda has asked me to assist with. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of my background. I am a paralegal from Ontario. I moved to St. John's last year. I was in the land management division with Infrastructure Ontario and well-diverse in the management of Crown lands for the province. I worked with the management team there. So coming to this province, it's really been an eye-opener for me in observation of what we're trying to achieve with the open transparency with government. And the amount of time that these ladies have spent to make awareness, have gotten petitions signed. I don't want to elaborate on that too much. But what I do want to elaborate on today is just the land management aspect of the Crown lands that have been basically, how do I put this lightly? I consider it to be the biggest land grab in Canadian history, just based on the amount of hectares that we're planning on bulldozing on behalf of a private company. Normal protocol and normal process, anytime Crown lands are being reassigned, there would be a public inquiry, there would be a land value attached to that process. So I'm very concerned just from a revenue perspective as to how these Crown lands got reassigned at no cost to the Newfoundland Power. So I really
sorry, Susan, what does that mean? I'm sorry. Just make sure that I'm following along here. So the government has control of Crown land. They can assign it for industrial, commercial, residential, cabin country, or whatever the case may be. But when you said the revenue stream or something along those lines, can you elaborate on that for me for a second, please?
Yes, of course. Normal protocol or normal processes, Crown lands were being reallocated to, let's say, a utility company. That said utility company would pay a royalty or would actually have to lease that property or lease those parcels. So it's very alarming to me how, in fact, these Crown lands got reassigned with no property or land value attached to them. And where are these leases going to be drawn up? Who's going to be in charge of these leases and what revenue is going to be attached to them? That's my major concern.
Okay, there is a Crown land lease fee because we're not selling them the land. It's a purposeful lease arrangement. It's 3.5% of the market value of the reserve lands. There's an annual 7% charge of the market value, and that's applicable to all Crown lands that the wind hydrogen proponents will have to pay. Then there's a wind tax, water use fee, water royalty.
Correct. And how long are these leases in place for, and what is the land value attached to those leases? That's the transparency that we need.
Right, but it says right there in the royalty, I'll call it a royalty regime. It's not necessarily that. It's probably better referred to as a fiscal framework. I'll use that with that phrase. So straight up inside the Crown land lease, yet to be determined dollar amount, is market value of the land. So it says quite clearly that we have to have an established market value, of which how that gets done, who gets to appraise it, because we don't even have enough appraisers to appraise Crown land if people are talking about cabin country. So there is a problem there, but they do make specific reference to market value of reserve lands. Has that number been arrived at? I don't know, to be honest. It's a good question.
Okay. Yep, and those are the projections that we need as the people of this province give up that much capital. And that's my concern today. I just wanted to keep it short, just let you know that that's sort of the direction where we're headed. There are some major concerns with that and definitely some processes that need to be transparent. So that was mainly the reason for my call today. And I just wanted to thank so much for giving us this forum to be able to express ourselves. We didn't get much news coverage last week, so I'm very appreciative of your time today.
Yeah, we had Christine Burke on the show, and there's been, I think Brenda was even on last week, if I remember correctly. Just specifically, if you're able to, Can you tell us what legal representation they're asking for? Is it simply looking for issues like appraised value of the market value of Crown lands, or is there something to do with the arrest last week? Or what exactly role are you performing on behalf of Protect NL?
Yep, I can't really go into too much details on that. There is some confidentiality that I've given to Brenda, so we are definitely seeking representation on the criminal side of things, but we are also trying to seek legal representation with respect to the rally itself. So I can't comment, Patty, but we are in the stages right now of getting some legal representation on a number of different angles.
Is there a very specific concern that you can share this morning regarding the arrests? Because I'm not even exactly sure what the obstruction charge is about. Is it about the fact that, as the government or some officials are saying, is that you cannot have something that you can live in on that piece of property? So whether that be a tent or a boat or a shack or a shed or whatever the case may be, is that what the charge is based on?
I believe so. I don't want to go too deep on that. There is definitely some criminal charges that were laid. I can't go into too much about that either. But the actual reasoning, there wasn't really any kind of transparency between what we were trying to achieve there and what security was attempting to do. Unfortunately, we were in the midst of a very, very deep ceremony as far as the land respect and acknowledging the land that we were on. So the ladies were deep in ceremony when the police took it upon themselves to board the boat and arrest them. So there's some contraindications right there that we're looking into, as well as the criminal aspect of not, having the right to freedom of speech, freedom to hold a rally in front of your House of Assembly. So there are a number of different factors here legally, and some rights have been infringed upon, and I don't want to go too deep on that, but we're working very diligently to meet the January 14th criminal date.
That's simply when the ladies have to present themselves to court? Is that what that means?
Correct, yep. We've got a date January the 14th, so we're looking, we may in fact have more than one lawyer present for a different number of aspects, but we do expect the charges to be dropped. These women were well within their rights of being there. They had constructed that boat as a symbol and not to occupy the space, and they were holding a secret ceremony when they got arrested. So there's a number of infractions there.
Are there plans to file legal injunctions against the government specifically regarding these onshore proposals?
I can't comment on that. I am pulling in some legal team from Toronto. I'm well diversed in the legal community there, as well as the legal community here. So I can't comment on that right now, but I can definitely give you some updates as things progress.
It's because, of course, if there's any legal filings in the courts against the government, we'll all know, because it'll be at that point de facto public.
Yep, absolutely, and we remain fully transparent, and as the ladies give me permission to release news, I will definitely be doing that on their behalf.
And I appreciate your time this morning, Susan. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.